Thrones has returned, and welcome my beautiful geekies to the channel. I am finally doing Game of Thrones reviews again. It's been 2 years. I have loved doing Game of Thrones reviews for you guys. I have always reviewed every single episode, at least ever since the channel exists. And now the show is back, therefore the episodic reviews are back. And if you have never seen these before, they are filled with spoilers, so please go watch the Season 8 premiere, Winterfell. And let's start off the bat that I really like this episode. I don't think it's a brain buster of an episode. I don't think it's a mind-blowing episode. I don't think it should have been. I like this first episode brings people and things together so then we can move forward and explore the story of this season, which, let's face it, it's not going to be long. We only got 5 episodes left, and I love that we come back to Winterfell, or at least all the right people that should and deserve to be in Winterfell are there. This episode was very much a mirror of the first episode ever from the premiere of the show itself, with the Lannisters and King Baratheon arriving in Winterfell. The Starks are there waiting for them, and in this episode it's Jon and Daenerys together arriving with the Unsullied and the Dothraki, and Sansa is waiting for them, Arya is waiting for them. We got this little kid climbing the trees and whatnot, very much like Bran used to do in the beginning of this show. Everyone is waiting for them, and while in the first episode, the Lannisters, which we know to be the bad guys and whatnot, they arrive and they have their pleasantries, and they are really nice to one another, but we know something is wrong. In this reunion, Daenerys and Sansa and Tyrion and the people of Winterfell looking at the Dothraki and the Unsullied, there's friction all around. It's not even able to hide itself. These people are not easy on each other, let's just say that, but there are great reunions in this episode. Tyrion and Sansa, the eventual reunion, beautiful reunion by the way, of Arya and Jon, which is amazing. 2 of my favorite characters reuniting, and then of course at the end, we'll talk about the final reunion in this one. So the homecoming itself, even though it's just the good people in this show, there is a lot of friction, while in the beginning there were good people and bad people, and everything was just nice, okay. And I like how it mirrors itself, but it's also a twisted version of itself at the same time. And Jon and Daenerys run away with the dragons. Jon rides a freaking dragon, and turns out they ran away to just kiss and spooch. We'll come back to this as well, because let's explore what else was going on, because Euron now was making himself towards Cersei, and Cersei was having none of it. I like the exchange that they had, that she tells him, if you want a whore, go buy one. If you want a queen, you go earn her. And then she tells him she has executed men for less, and he tells her they were lesser men, so eventually he earns Cersei, kind of. I feel like they're both playing with each other, so they have another plan in their own minds, but I think Cersei is going to eventually win. Cersei is not going to get ran over by Euron Greyjoy, who also has Yara in his ship, and eventually she gets saved by Tyrion, which is a character I think should have gone a long time ago, and he now wants to go fight with the Starks, which makes total sense for this character, and hopefully it means he will die, because Yara is now going to the Iron Islands, seeking refuge from the war, the White Walkers, the Dothraki, the dragons, the Queen, and the Southern Queen, and whatnot. I'm just not a fan of the Theon character. I don't think the Theon character deserves any redemption. I don't think he has earned any redemption. I know I'm in the minority, but that's just the way I feel. So going back a little bit to Winterfell, there's this reunion that the people don't feel right, that Jon bended the knee to Daenerys and recognized her as the queen when they named him the king in the north. And the northern people don't trust outsiders very easily, if at all. And even Lady Mormont seems pissed at Jon and what he did, but everyone seems to breathe a sigh of relief a little bit when Sansa, at least, brings a little bit of order back into the room, which is great to see Sansa having that power, which is a great character development for her, because I know this character is want to do that. And there's this kid as well who asks for more horses to help him bring his forces over to Winterfell because the Whites are almost there at his castle, or Castle Umber. And so Jon sends Tormund Giantsbane, Beric Dondarrion, and a few other men to the Umber Castle, and they run into Ed and a few other men from the Night's Watch, and they find that this little boy, the Umber boy, is stuck to the wall, and he's surrounded by this spiral made of bodies. Not bodies, but at least limbs from, I assume, soldiers of his. And just as they are inspecting the body, the kid wakes up. He's a White Walker, but then Beric Dondarrion stabs him with his light sword, and the spiral starts to burn. It's a beautiful image, and it's an image that I don't know what it is, but I know I should know. That image of the spiral is familiar, but at the same time, I have no idea what it is, and I know people are going to be mad at me and correct me in the comments below, and you should, because I should remember it. You deserve to be mad on this one. And in general, that's everything that happens around in the episode until we are brought back to Winterfell, and we see Daenerys with Jorah going to Sam, who's also there in Winterfell now, to thank him for saving Jorah when no one else could. No, when no one else would try even to save him. And Sam eventually mentions his father, and Daenerys tells him the truth, as she should, that she had to execute his father because he would not bend the knee, and he would still ally himself with Cersei. His dad was an asshole, so yeah, he deserved to die. Eventually, Sam mentions his brother, and Daenerys tells him that your brother stood with your father. And as far as I can remember, his brother Dickon was a dick as well. So yeah, he also deserved to die. And they didn't like Sam. Sam didn't like them. So you cannot blame Daenerys either for killing them or for lying. She was honest first and foremost when she found out that Sam didn't know that his father and brother were dead. She was like, well, I'm sorry, Sam, but I had to kill them. And I did. And so Sam finally goes to tell freaking Jon what he knows. Bran has to show up out of nowhere, be like Michael Myers, boom, and there he is. And he tells Sam that we have to tell Jon. And he's like, okay, let's go. And he's like, no, you have to tell him. You're his brother. No, I'm not. I'm his cousin. And so Sam goes to the crypt. He says hi to Jon. There's this really good moment where they hug and we breathe a sigh of relief as fans, and so do they. But Sam confronts Jon about what Daenerys did to his brother and father, and tells Jon that he's the son of Lyanna Stark, Rhaegar Targaryen. He is Aegon Targaryen the 6th, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the 6th. And he's the rightful king of the bloody 7 kingdoms. And so now he's asking Jon, what will he do? Will he bend the knee, or will he tell Daenerys to see if she would make that sacrifice for him? So now, I really like this episode, but here is my problem. The friction that is going to start between the two allied forces, it's going to be because of pettiness. It's not going to be a rightful conflict, it's going to be pettiness. Because as far as I'm concerned, these two, Jon and Daenerys, they are in love. Even if he finds out that she is his aunt, I guess he's still in love with her because anything goes in Game of Thrones. As far as I know, there is such a concept in this world as king and queen, rulers together. And as far as we know, these two are already planning on ruling together because Jon nominated her as his queen and he started, going there. As far as we know, he is already the king beside her. So I really hope there's no conflict that emerges from this, that they start battling each other and start distrusting each other, because there was already some friction even when Arya, reunited with Jon, starts showing signs of not siding with him anymore because he sided with Daenerys. So my fear is that there's going to be a lot of pettiness and infant betrayal between main characters that have grown so much. That's my biggest fear going into the rest of the season. We don't have many episodes left, and I don't want to have problems, and such big problems, such problems that shouldn't even exist, because these writers and creators are much better than any of us talking about this show on YouTube. So it's really hard to see something like this happen, and seeing that these writers are probably going down this road of having very petty conflict between characters. I was just not happy with what the end of this episode kind of was set up for. So I hope I'm completely wrong. I hope they do a 180 and turn it around on us, because this is a really good starting point to the last season. So don't make that ending culminate into something bigger. Those are my thoughts on the premiere episode of Season 8 of Game of Thrones Winterfell. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below, and let me know what your hopes and fears for the rest of the season, but specifically for episode 2, which I don't know the name of, and I should have known. But thank you so much for you guys for watching. You are the best. Can't wait to bring you back another review for episode 2 next week, which is going to be back home in Portugal, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much once again. So until the next review, stay beautiful, stay geeky, and if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button and click the bell, because winter has come and we need to be geeky united!